Welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm Rick Zanotti, and I'm joined today by my good friend right over there,
Geoff Blanchard. And what an intro with all this music and that, and that's really cool. What about, does that lead into our theme tune though, our intro?
It is. Our intro is going to come right up.
Okay.
And here we go. She's so sweet. Well, here we are. Joining us in the middle is Harold Muliadi.
Yeah, where'd he come
running
from?
the show, and he's with us today. Mm-hmm. So, what a week, huh? Almost Christmas. Yeah. It's been busy. Are you off next week, Geoff?
No, I've just got the Tuesday and Wednesday off, but working Monday and Thursday and Friday. So
Monday, Thursday, Friday.
The 2 days off then, and then the 1 day off for the New Year's Day the next week. So
yep,
working straight through.
Sounds good.
Hey! And it's funny. I was going to say, Rick. It's usually the day after Christmas people start playing with the things they got for Christmas.
Right. And
it sounds like you've got a sounds effects machine.
Well, no, this is, I don't know if you can see it here. Can you go to, so this is what we're using, the Akai APC, I think 40?
APC 40 Mark II.
Mark II. So that's, you can see that okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We've had this now for about 3 years. We did use it for a while, about year and a half ago, and then we kind of got rid of it, but we figured, this is a pretty good thing for sound, so we might as well, use it for sound, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, see? I mean...
yeah.
Al Pacino?
We were using it as a studio controller before to control the shots and all that, yeah.
Harold has that effect on some way.
I'm just that terrifying. Now I've set off
I
fire.
think it's time. School's over. Let's go home.
This takes me back about 8 years where you had that,
yes.
Rick had a sort of time where he was playing sound effects, and he got carried away with it.
And back then it was all motivated by No Agenda, the No Agenda podcast with Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. They had all sorts of sound effects, and I thought it was fun. And by the way, I have their app. We can actually download all their sound effects. They're free.
Oh, can you?
You can. They're all free.
Oh.
So it's kind of cool.
I like that. I like that.
Uh-oh. Maybe we can't.
Like there's one of theirs I like. It says, "Don't hate me, Hillary."
Oh, yes. Yeah.
All right, keep moving.
Yeah.
All right, keep moving.
They have a few really good ones. So.
Good job, Geoff. That was good.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. So anyway, well, we thought we'd take a little bit of a trip down memory lane today. So, Geoff, we're going to go back to some camcorders from literally 2001.
Oh, okay.
And you think about this, 2001 to today is only 17 years going on, 18 years. So do you have a picture of that GL2, the Canon GL2? That camcorder revolutionized mobile video.
It did, didn't it? I can remember that one.
It did.
Yeah.
It was the first camcorder to become what they call an ENG camcorder. ENG is electronic news gathering. It was used by every single news agency around the world. It weighed 2 pounds. It was light. It had 3 rings for focus, zoom, and aperture. It was we had 2 of these. It was a great, and it was about $2,500 back then.
And as you can see, the image resolution is very low, sort of appropriate to the era.
It was. It really was for digital imagery. That's about what you got, and
that's the best picture I could find.
Yep, and it had a mini DV film cartridge. Remember that? Not film, but tape cartridge.
Tape.
That was back then. Can you imagine how far we've gotten from there to? Well, you'll see what's coming up. So next one was there's the mini DV. There you go. And we've had them break, we've had them tear, we've had them come off the end of one side. They were fun.
Hey, Rick, I think we just found one of those mini DVs in the conference room.
We did. I don't know what it was
Oh,
from. I'm scared to even look at it.
If you send it to me, I've still got one of the cameras.
You do?
Oh. But Ricky, you seem to forget as well with that. One of those, that was a 3CCD by the look of it.
Yes, that's true.
Oh.
The thing that changed video cameras, I think, was the CCD.
Mm-hmm.
Because before then, they were like the valves and that, and you could not use them and move the camera because if like you was trying to film the LA freeways at night, all you just get is a big blare because the light would burn into the tube, into the image.
Yep.
And do that. Whereas CCD was the first thing, you could put light on it, switch the light off, and it went.
Yeah.
It stopped. Whereas
It
before
was
that,
and for those who don't remember what a CCD was, they were the chips. You had 3 color chips. You had your red, green, and blue chips, and that would give you where your color was. So 3 CCD, and they were 1/4 inch, I think, CCDs.
I think charge coupled device.
Charge coupler device. Is that what it was?
Yeah, charge coupled device.
Yep.
Device, yeah.
And they were
That's what
amazing
it was
because
meant
you
for.
got, and this Canon was one of the best color cameras in the world at that point. And it was revolutionary when they came out with the 3 CCDs. Panasonic followed very shortly thereafter, also with the same technology. I don't know if Canon created that or if it was somebody else. For all you know, it was Sony. I don't know. I'm not sure. Sony had them too. And then later on, so from the GL2, we went to the XL2.
Okay.
Now, this was a cool
that
camera.
looks really that just looks even better, doesn't it?
Oh,
No
we
matter
had
what the performance.
And we had this camera. It was a beautiful camera. Your dial over there was, it took you from your film modes to your playback mode. And it was real easy because you just had to turn a dial. There was nothing wrong or complex. You had buttons for everything. And that looks like probably a Canon 100mm lens. I think that's a 100mm, probably f2.8. And there was replaceable lenses. So you could put any EF lens on that, and for the most part, it would work. It had the shotgun mic that was actually a pretty good microphone built into it. And they had a viewfinder that looked like you were looking at a TV. It was so clear, so big, very comfortable.
As you can see, the viewfinder is half of the size of the thing.
Yeah, the viewfinder is this whole thing right here. Well, I'm pointing, you can't see me. But it's, yes, it's that whole part that you see in front of the microphone. That whole thing is the viewfinder. It was amazing. And again, it was a mini DV cartridge. And they also had a nice electronic viewfinder. Oh, actually, no, this one didn't. It had just that one big viewfinder. And it had I guess it was about a 3-inch or 3-point-something inch LCD, which again, for its time was pretty good. I sold the one we had to a videographer who was in charge of doing all of the B-roll for NCIS show. Remember the NCIS show? It's still on.
Which one?
And that was up like the second year of the show, I think, second, third year. And he, when we sold it, he bought it as a second XL2 for all the stuff he was doing. And the funny thing is, they were filming NCIS supposedly, I think, in Virginia, but most of the B-roll came from LA. I guess a beach is a beach, right?
That's right. Yes, as long as it doesn't have the Santa Monica Pier in it, you don't know.
That's
where
right.
It is, so.
and people probably wouldn't even know what the Santa Monica Pier was. So then from there we went to, and that was a very good DV camera. If you think about the fact that you could have replaceable lenses back then, nobody did that. That was probably 2004 or 5 we got that one.
But even then, though, they didn't have the problems with the rolling shutter, did they?
No, not really. No, or focus, or
just,
focus for that matter.
No, you didn't even think about that. You just focused it or used the autofocus. You never had to seem to have a problem. But that rolling shutter, that's always amazed me. The better the quality they get, we lose. And somebody said to me that with every advance, you lose something. There's always something's got to give. You get something, and then I think that's the rolling shutter's done that. Because now all of them have some sort of rolling shutter, don't they?
Yep.
Oh, I've said something wrong. I said rolling shutter.
I think they were looking for the rolling shutter.
Those had CCDs, you said.
Harold, your microphone's not on. Harold's microphones are not on.
Well, yeah, those cameras back then had CCDs, which means that they wouldn't have had any rolling shutter, because a CCD, basically, it captures the whole surface area of the sensor at once, whereas the rolling shutter, it's an artifact of the CMOS sensor, really, because it captures it line by line. And, I mean, CMOS sensors, they've gotten a bit better where they don't have the rolling shutter as much, but you're still always going to get it. It's just, it's a byproduct of the design, really.
Wow.
And so, because there's ones out there called global shutters, which I think they still have CCDs, don't they? Those cameras,
those would be
global
CCDs.
Shutters. Yeah, so that's where the thing is. So you won't get that because it's the way it scans it. Like you said, it's not doing it the line by line. So you can still get them, but again, it's at a price. So if you get that, I'm sure it's the higher end. But I remember when 3 CCD, that was all. That was it. If you didn't get a camera with 3 CCD, a video camera, it wasn't worth having. Whereas now you don't even hear 3 CCD, do you?
No.
Yeah,
No.
And part of it is actually that I think we've kind of shifted to CMOS because they're quite a bit cheaper to make, for one, for the surface area, and they're a lot more power efficient, so you don't drain your battery as fast. But I mean, I have to say, I still like CCDs. I like the pictures that they put out. I don't know, but nowadays pretty much all the cameras you can get, unless you're going for kind of special.
Also, the sensors and the photo sites are much larger too now, so they can handle it.
Yeah, I mean, and like I was saying, it's a lot of why we're able to make affordable sensors that are that much larger with larger photo sites is because we've switched over to using a CMOS.
Yep.
There's another name for. They also call them active pixel sensors, I think. Yeah, that's the other name for them.
It was funny. Like I did a video not so long back and filming out the car, and most people didn't notice it, but I don't know if they do, but I do because I'm looking for it all the time. But I thought, all that filming out the car, it just looks like Australia's all on a slant. I could see, but most of the things you couldn't. But when you see something that was straight, but it looked like all the roadside things on, the barriers and that, the more, because it wasn't wobbling, it was just all perfectly on an angle.
Thought, that's funny.
That's all.
I've had that happen too, and it's funny because you do that and you go, was I shooting at an angle? What was I doing?
It looked like the whole world's in a slant, but I thought, no, it's the rolling shutter, but it's because you're filming out of a car, you can't help it. It's going that fast.
Well, Australia is very far down north, so it could actually be at an angle. It's just.
I think it is. It's we're on an angle. That's right. So
the other thing that people get a lot is when they're trying to film airplanes, then the propellers look like they're all bendy, like they're made of jello or something.
Hold it right there.
Yes. Yeah, and then that's also as well to do with the shutter speed. They have such a high shutter speed, and then you want it slow so you can see it. You don't want to see, or else they just see like helicopters. You see, well, it's not moving. How's it flying? The propellers are not moving because you're just getting a still shot all the time. You've got in the still shot. The Al Pacino. That sounds like
I don't
Al
know.
Pacino. When he goes in instead of a woman, I think there's a load of sound clips that's gone out of that from Al Pacino.
I think that's probably the royalty-free version of Al Pacino.
Wow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
But and the next camera was the XH A1. Now, we had two of these.
They still have that.
I don't think they sell it anymore. Do they?
I've seen them in the second hand. I've seen one in the shop the other week.
Interesting.
I think B&H still sells them.
Interesting. Now, this was one of the worst cameras I think Canon ever made.
That's probably why they've still got them.
It had a lousy sensor. I don't remember if this was 3 CCDs or went back to 1, but it was lousy. It had the nice controls though. You had 3 rings, and it was still mini DV, but it wasn't a good camera. I mean, it had low resolution. When we tried to do green screen, it took forever to clean out the messes it left. There were very rough edges, and I hated this camera. We had 2 of them. We used it for about 3 years. The codec they used was unintelligible to most video editors, so we had to buy codecs and software to replace it with, because it was full HD at the time, and everybody was like, "Ooh, full HD,
full HD,
ooh, yeah." And it was first of its type. It was a pain to use, and the quality really looked like crap. That's all I could say. It was just crap, and so that was a long time ago, and that's probably about 8 years ago. We had these 7, 8 years ago, maybe even a little, maybe 8 years ago, maybe, or 9.
So when you're complaining about Canons these days, it's not just a new thing that's doing it. It's been a consistent thing. Good model, bad model,
good model, bad
better,
model, good,
better,
yeah.
worse.
And
So
then
it's been
what came
consistent.
after this was the XF line, which we didn't have any of the XFs until the XF 400 and 405. I'm on the 405 right now. So you're seeing me on the Canon XF 405. This is a $3,400 camcorder, 4K, the very first one. They came out with a 4K camcorder, and it's actually a good camcorder. We liked it. We've done some professional shooting with this on events. It worked out much better than we thought it would. And so we have two of these, the XF 400 and the 405. The only difference being is that the 405 has an HDMI and an SDI output.
Okay.
Other than that, it's the same camera. And coming after this one is the XF 705, which just came out a couple months ago. Here it is.
Oh.
Now, the 705 is the size of the XH A1. It's about 6 inches longer than the ones we have now. It has a viewfinder that's twice as big as the one we have now, the 400 and 405. It's got the same chip, the same lens, but it's got other fully buttoned customizable. So you got all the buttons, which the other one, the 400 and 405, really doesn't. And everybody bitched and complained so much that they decided, yes, to run away from it, to run away and just basically. That's how bad it was. It was really bad.
That looks like it's got the pull-out viewfinder off of the handle that slides down.
It does a little bit. Yep.
Not 4-inch. What's it? 4 centimeter one is.
Yep.
Is it something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And so
really nice.
and it goes, and it has the 4. It's a 4-inch one. It's a 4-inch
4-inch.
The
viewfinder
screen.
on this one. The other one, the one we have right now on me, is the 3.5. So it's a little bit bigger. Everything is a little bigger. It still runs on standard, which is nice. You can output 4K, I think 1022 to SD cards, SDXC. That's not bad, and it gives you very good resolution, very good everything. Full HDR compatible. Nice. 3 rings on this one. Ours only has 1, I think, right?
Yeah, ours has 1.
1.
Whereas this one has...
Or do we have 2? No, we have 2 on this one, I think.
I thought we have 1, and is there the little one on it?
Oh, maybe. Maybe that's what they do.
But yeah, the 705 has... the backmost one is the iris or aperture.
Yeah.
Middle is zoom, and then the furthest one is focused.
Focus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your typical Canon lens, 15 times optical zoom, 30 times, I think, digital.
Yeah, and it's actually it's the same lens as on the 405 and 400.
Yep. And
A very neat camera, isn't it? It's got everything in there, but it's not. Looks very neat. It doesn't look too frightening, because some of them you think, oh my goodness, look at all those buttons. But that's got enough buttons, but not too frightening.
But not too many. We're actually getting that. Next week we're going to get that. It's one of our year-end buy gear things. It's tax time. So we're buying gear.
I just wish I was there, because you know where I'd be spending. I'd be just. So you just carry on with what you want to do. I'll just come and play with all the things.
Yep.
And I'll come and house. You go away for holidays. I'll go and house sit and play with all the cameras.
They're at the office, but hey, that's fine. Give you the keys. But no, it's actually a lot of fun. And but the XF 705, it's about $6,900, just below. It's more expensive than the C100 by about $2,000 more, and it is just about $1,000 less than the C200. But if you get a C200, now you've got the lens issue. What lenses do you get? Cinema? We don't need cinema. Well, I mean, get EF. We have a lot of EF lenses, but the the form factor is really built more for color grading and everything else, and it's not as agile as what we need for the kind of shoots we do. So we figured we'd go with this over the C200. I think it's a better bet. They both do 4K.
I've been swayed a bit from Doug the other week with the Sony one, the was it the CW85, I think, or that was about the $7,000, but that just looked beautiful, and that would be I'll be.
But you know why we don't want to go with that? I'll tell you why we don't want to go with that. 90% of the professional shooters are shooting Canon. Well, as we need people to help shoot, to get a crew, they almost all know Canons. They know C100s, 200s. They know the camcorder. And once you know the camcorder, they're not that different from the C200 or 300.
Well, there is that. And the other thing is, since we've got the 405 and the 400, then having compatible. Those as, B cameras will make the footage look basically the same.
And it's easy. You're like me, I don't like to color grade too much, but at least if you've got 3 Canon, it's pretty much the same one. There might just be a slight exposure change or just something, but the green is a green all the way. Green on a Canon and the green on a Sony is different. So definitely. It would just be obviously different if you had 2 different things. But let's face it, if you go to any shoot and that people know you're the real thing if you've got a Canon, no matter what.
I know,
and that's a lot of it. It doesn't matter. Like that's why I think you need these bigger ones, because you might be able to get away doing exactly the same quality with the GH5. But people think you don't know what you're doing because you should have.
Well, it's
video
funny.
Camera.
We walked into a professional shoot once with a GH4, and they're looking at us like, "That's it." It's a professional camcorder, 4K. I mean, professional camera. I said it's new, just came on the market. This is replacing a lot of the bigger camcorders and things, and they're like, okay. So they just go that small lens, and that's shooting me. That's gonna shoot. Yeah, it's actually when they saw it, they went, "Oh, that looked good."
And actually, the GH5 has a larger sensor than these camcorders.
Yeah, it's a 1.3 sensor, and this is 1 inch versus a 1.3 inch sensor. The GH5 is a great camera. Well, you've been playing with it. It takes incredible video.
Yeah, did you see? I uploaded the last one the other week from when I went to see the kangaroos in the Listerfield Park.
Oh no, I must have missed that one. I've got to go see that.
And I had the 100 to 200 millimeter lens, and I handheld trying to get the kangaroos. I was bouncing up and down, but I thought,
is that on GeoffBlanchard.com?
Yeah, that is.
Hey, can you go to Geoff Blanchard? Let's show it.
You probably will, but on my YouTube channel you can get it.
Oh, go to his YouTube. That's probably easier.
The funny thing was, though, is even though it's that hard to hold and going up and down, I thought it did such a good job. Mostly, I usually wouldn't be able to see anything of it, but at the end of it, you'll see where the kangaroos are in it. But it's just I was just so pleased with just the quality it gave me, and that. So. It's just very challenging.
In all these years, from all those cameras we showed you, that's a 16-year or 17-year history, and they've changed a lot in terms of technology and what they can do. Here we go.
It was closer to the end where the camera, but I'm playing with my Ronin as well on this one.
Okay.
And I'm just playing with all the different things on there, but this is the GH5.
So more towards here?
Yeah, just getting near the end there. If you can see them bouncing in the corner, there's one in the corner. Bouncing but it's a bit more. There they are. This is me trying to hold the 100 to 200 millimeter lens.
How far? Oh, you were at the 200. How far were you from them?
Quite a distance away. I would have run away.
But he's looking at you, isn't he?
A couple of them doing that.
So were they looking at you?
That one's scratching his undercarriage there.
Oh yeah.
That's but I thought, see that, I was so pleased because I was moving so much, but the camera kept them fairly still.
Yeah.
I thought they definitely need a tripod for these ones. And that's my attempt at color grading. You see, that was a bit darker, but anyway, I tried to do some color grading, but I'm not very good at it. But I thought that lens just did it such a good quality, but just trying to keep that still.
Now, how big are those kangaroos? About 6 feet?
Some of them could be about 5 to 6 feet. They're not the terribly big ones. There wasn't any there, but about the 5 feet. And
okay.
That's, but I thought, just
now if you got close to those. Now, if you got close to those kangaroos, what would they do?
Well, if you get to the bigger ones, they can get quite friendly, and they can grab you around put the things around your neck, and people, oh, that's nice. They come in and give me a kiss, and then they sit back on the tail and rip your guts out with the claws that they've got on the front bit, because that's what they do. They grab the prey by the shoulders with their little front feet, stick the tail down on the ground, and the big back feet come up, and they've got huge claws and rip your guts out. So
now, does that happen? Does that happen actually every so often?
Well, it can do, but they're not like grizzly bears that come and attack you. But if you go up to them, you can get that close to touch them. But
really?
Watch out, because it can be dangerous. If
they can be, yeah.
I've never seen anyone come and attack you, but you'd have to go in there and say, "Oh, look at the nice one." Let's go and
they're such cute animals, but they're actually quite dangerous.
Oh, it can be, yeah, because they've got like about 3 claws, and they're really, like you see velociraptors. They've got claws like that on their feet.
Wow.
Wait, their prey. What would they be using that on other than people? Like, are there
anything?
I think they just grab anything and do that. And I don't know if it's ripping bark off a tree or something like that with the claws, or doing that to get things, but it must be one of their things to defend themselves. God, goodness knows why they've got the little feet in the front, and But that's what my go on the GH5 was, with the 100 to 400 millimeter lens. You see, it was still bouncing around all over the place, but at least it was watchable. Whereas without the stability of that, I don't think I would have even got it that steady.
Now, on the Ronin, was that easy to stabilize with the bigger lens?
I didn't even try.
Oh, you didn't?
Because I had it done with the 12 to 60, and then when I put the other lens on, I took it off because I thought it's gonna be, the motors are gonna burn out trying to hold that thing.
So
up.
It is a little too heavy.
I don't know. I never tried, but I thought I was out and about. I didn't have the time to sit down and try and balance it, and then it would be all unbalanced for the other one. So I just didn't give. I might give it a try, but usually I think if you're going to do that, I'd next time take a tripod with me and just have it so I can have it straight on a tripod.
Don't mess with those kangaroos.
You've got to have, well, it's Sylvester saying something about the big, the big mouse, which was the kangaroo. Ooh.
This guy.
Oh.
As long as you don't start playing the Dualis tune anymore. So that was the one you used to
the Cialis tune, yes.
Cialis, not Dualis. Cialis, when every time
I did that
came on, you
to
played
Terrence. He was he was our co-host, and one day I go, here's our co-host, Terrence, and I went, ding, Terrence Wing, and I pressed it, and he's like, oh, no, man, that's not me.
And every time he came on, since you did it for about a year, every time he came on,
I drove him crazy, yeah. So it was so funny. He turned red, like, no, that's not me. Oh, man.
All right,
just
keep
start
moving.
Of the oh yeah, keep moving. Okay.
Keep moving.
That's what we should do when we speaking rubbish and you want it. Okay, move it on.
Okay, move it on. Let's see, what's this one? Oh, she's terrible. She's just loud.
Yeah.
Hold it right there.
Okay. So anyway, we were talking earlier. Remember, the Canon 1DX, the very first one that came out, top of the line Canon, 2004, well, I think.
That one's just the 1D. The 1DX is the current.
What did I say? DX1? 1DX. I'm sorry.
1D.
I'm thinking Nikon. That was the D1, I think. Anyway, the 1DX, 4 megapixel camera. 4.
Ooh.
That was it, right there. 4 megapixels, $8,000 for this thing.
And that was
$8,000.
When was that? That was back
2004 or 5.
Oh goodness!
Although
4
megapixels
for a lot of applications, 4 megapixels isn't necessarily
Well, no, that's rationalizing. That's all they had back then.
Yeah, that's true. But
They had nothing else.
I mean, 4 megapixels is like 2300 or something by 19.
Right. It was about HD size, maybe.
Or 16.
And even then, you've got to think that we were coming from, like, you know, the Mavica cameras, which we thought were excellent at the time.
With the floppy disk?
They had a floppy disk, and we could have a 1.4 floppy disk. We'd have about 30 photos on it. So
I know, that's
30 photos on the 1.4, so you can imagine the quality of those pictures. It would be rubbish.
Rick and I were just looking that up, and I think they were like 550 pixels wide or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I worked at Sony at the time when we were selling them, because when they came out. So that's what I know.
And they were $1,000. They were almost $1,000.
It was just fantastic. It was a digital camera, because nobody had them then, and then it was just get them, and then you said, it's only a big normal floppy size. You didn't have to have.
Jeff, we did a lot of professional video shoots with those, where we shot talent, green screened it, and we had 30 floppies per shoot for one individual. 30. It was about 300 shots.
Did you do video? It didn't do video, did it?
No, it didn't. It didn't. It just did floppy disk pictures.
Yeah.
And I think they were only JPEGs.
Yeah, there was only Well, we never heard of RAW back then. That was unheard of in camera, because it was still at that time.
No, these weren't raw. These were completely uncooked.
Yeah, if you take a raw photo on one of those, you'll have to like put in a floppy, load in another one, just keep going.
And you know, they never did the logical sequence, Jeff. 2 floppies.
No, that's right. But can you imagine, though, like, from today's standard, like, an average photo is 20 megabytes.
I know.
Yep.
So how many floppy disks was that just for one photo?
That's a lot.
That's why you couldn't do. And back then, you know, digital cameras, there was no way you could take a digital photo and really it was professional. Still, normal film was still the best way, and people say this is never going to work. And it wouldn't with the quality at the time and the storage, but as storage got cheaper, because they could probably do it back then, but you'd have a $500,000 camera that would do a 20 megabyte image and do really good, but it would be hundreds of thousands of dollars, and nobody would be able to afford.
Now, have you seen this one, Jeff? This is the Panasonic Eva.
Let me bring that up.
The Eva?
The Eva.
Eva 1.
Yeah.
Now, that's using a Canon lens right there.
I can see that. It's a 24-105 lens by the looks of it.
Yep, that is a Canon lens. It has a Canon mount. It is a full frame sensor, super 35 millimeter.
Wow.
So that's a cinema camera from Panasonic. It's about, what is that, about $7,000?
You know, I'm not actually sure.
Something like it. I think it's 6,000 or 7,000.
Or an old one?
Yeah. Okay. So the body is 7.
The body by itself is 7.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks nice. I don't think it's very popular though. You know, it has a body similar to I think C100 or C200.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. Similar size, similar form factor.
Yeah. I don't think it's very popular. Some people love it, some kind of hate it, and I don't think it's that good. Everybody complains it's very light, which they like, but it's hollow sounding. Very cheap plastic, they said.
Got a plastic body.
Very plasticky. It's not using magnesium alloy like Canon uses. I was thinking, should we get one of those? And I went, no, let's stick to Canon. If we're going to do that, just stick with Canon.
It's like cameras are all like cars, and that like you can have tons of cameras and cars that do exactly the same job, will do all the same thing, but it's how it feels. Like the feel of the GH5 to me, I just love that.
It's beautiful.
My FZ1000 will do a quite similar job, but it feels light and plasticky.
You might like now. You didn't buy this one, but you might want it. I don't know. The FZ2500 is really nice. It's
yes,
heavy.
I like that.
It's
one.
heavier.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, but I like that. That was more like the GH5, but in that sort of form factor, wasn't it? So,
well, I don't know. I've been considering what you were of getting the GH5S.
Okay, that would be a good one if you're doing the video, because that's that would be a better one.
It gets great reviews, and the focus is better than the GH5 and the G9. So it's interesting. I don't think I would get another Panasonic camcorder. They look nice. They have nice ergonomics.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
I didn't like the image that much. You were happy enough with the image, but I don't know. I think the Canons are more consistent.
Now, I'd love to get a new camcorder, but in that 405 type format, style and that, but a bit bigger one. But it's the sort of thing. It's with the GH5. It's a bit more discreet, and that's taking it around and easier to take around. But then again, the other ones when you're doing a proper shoot are still better. Those bigger, clunkier ones, because I think they are. It sets up easier. You can pan better because you've got the weight. Even on the lighter camera, even if you've got a nice fluid head tripod, it's harder to do a nice smooth pan when you've got a lighter thing on it. It just seems to be better when you've got a nice heavier camera on there. When you're
it's true. Tripod. It is true. Now, if you had to buy a tripod, what would you buy?
Well, I like the Benro.
They're
like
good.
A lot of the Benros at the moment, but it's.
Have you ever looked at the German Sackler?
I haven't, no. But just when you say German, it sounds expensive.
Oh my God, they're about $1,200 to $1,500. But my gosh, the fluid head, it's amazing. It's so soft. One of the guys that we were shooting with in Connecticut, he had one, and I was going, and it's light. And I was feeling it going, wow, this is nice. And I felt the head. I went, oh my gosh, it's butter. And the balancing on it was, it was so buttery. It's a lot of money. Sackler is owned by someone else. I can't remember who. But I like Benro. I have a Benro at home, and I have the Benro here, I think. Also E-Image is nice. They're very similar to the Benros.
Yeah, that's right. And there's Jura. I think it's Jura. They do, but they're quite expensive. I got the little one from B&H, which is the little short, stubby one. But their full size one. There's about $2,000. That's why I didn't go for that, because it's
who makes that? Where's it from?
I can't remember. I think it's Jura.
Is it German or Italian?
I'm not too sure, but I got it from B&H, and as I said, it cost me about $200 for this little short one, like a desktop one. Yeah. But it's a size that will fit like your 405 cameras on it, the big size cameras. It will fit. It's a ball mount on the thing, so you can
Geoff,
adjust
Geoff, don't you love those commercials that Canon? Well, they're not commercials, like mini reviews. Kurt Ramsey, I think, does them with. Brett Ramsey. Brett Ramsey does the reviews with the Canons with those low. I think they're using Benros at the time with those low ones right on the desk, and they look so cool.
Yeah, I just like when I love watching the propaganda videos, because I still like to see.
They're pretty good.
Because even though you can't do, you just want to believe that you can do it all the same as then, and that's what sells. Because if everybody showed you this is what the camera can do, but hey, you've got not a chance in the world of ever doing the same quality as we can.
Wow.
But it's said, because it's all, and as I said, all of this, it's everybody can do, but it's time and patience, and a lot of us don't have it. We won't get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get out there to get the first light and wait for 3 hours for the light to come.
No.
But those people who do and get those shots and those videos, it's because they've been there in the middle of the night.
Absolutely.
These times I'm a bit scared to go out late at night with the video camera. You never know what might happen.
Well, that's true too, especially with those rogue kangaroos running around. You never know.
And
that's right. Yes.
And at night, the hood kangaroos come out. So yeah.
Speaking of the camcorders and setup and stuff, the one of the things as far as recording a shoot with the XF405 or 400 versus the GH5. Which I guess it doesn't matter that much if you had an external monitor or something, but when you've got the HDMI connected, then on the GH5 it goes right in front of the screen. So, like if you had to see the screen from the front, then you can't see it. I guess it's kind of a specific situation where it messes things up, but it is a small thing, and on the other hand, for the XF405, it just goes out the back, so it doesn't block the screen.
Yeah.
And also, I saw like the GH5, when you put it on like the 502 Manfrotto fluid head, it's hard to fix on because it's only got a little footprint to fit on there. But last week I saw William had another little mount on top of his Manfrotto mount that fitted on there, where that did the hot shoe on it, which made it look a lot more secure and easier.
Interesting.
Sat it in the middle better, because on that one it sits so far back on the panel because it's meant for a big long video camera, isn't it? That sort of slidey thing. But I meant to ask him about that because it looked really nice. He had it so it was done up a little bit more and sort of like had a quick mount on top of the.
I'll go back and look. I remember seeing that video, but I wasn't paying attention to the tripod. I think I missed it.
Because sometimes it's a bit awkward when you've got them because it sort of sits a bit funny on a tripod because those big long ones are meant for a camera with a nice long body, not for
and heavier cameras.
Not meant for DSLRs. They're really meant for video cameras, aren't they? The ones. So.
And it's funny. I don't think that we were talking last week about this. I don't think Micro Four Thirds is going away because it is almost the perfect size for 4K shooting.
Yeah, it might take another. It might take something else. Like you might not see much happening in the photography side of it, but it might concentrate a bit more. But even then, like making that the GH5 with the 20 megapixel still shot, it's still quite good, and then it could still increase that a little bit. But it's more like I did. I bought GH5 for video, but it does have a good still. But I didn't buy it for that. And then there's all the other people that's buying the GH5S don't care about the still, so that's got 12 megapixel, but who cares because they want the better things for the video. So
now I tell you, as I've been shooting with the Canon EOS-R, I like that camera. The pictures are beautiful on it. It's a full frame camera. I don't think they're any worse than like a 5D Mark IV, or it might be better actually. I think it might have a tad more dynamic range, but they look good. And especially in not great light, they're pretty nice. The colors are good. You don't have to go really high on ISO, and it looks nice. I don't know. I like it so far.
It just gets me though with all cameras and camera reviews and that. I think if there was a camera that came out that was perfect, you would never get a perfect review because I think it's people's jobs to pick a fault because people will think they're being paid to say it's good, so they're too scared to say everything good. They'll say this is great but this is shocking. They've always got to have a bad thing, or else people think it can't be possibly that good. So
I know.
So you've always got to take all the bad and think, well, what do they want it for? And it's still hard with a lot of reviews. You've got so many pros and cons, but it's still 50-50. You still never know which way to go.
It's like I was saying, I think a few shows ago, if you get the thing free for evaluation from the company, people will say, well, you're shilling for them because it's sponsored. Whereas if you bought the thing, they'll say, well, it's just, sunk cost fallacy. You're just saying it's good because you already have it. So,
Yeah, and then, to justify your purchase and so you don't look stupid for buying it. So.
I think people expect reviewers to just, randomly find cameras in the forest and then, they didn't buy it, they didn't get it from someone.
I think Rick's doing like they do on the radio shows. Oh, we're coming up to the 9 o'clock news, so here's and the theme music's coming up.
We are running towards the end of our show. The music has come on. We have been on for 45 minutes.
That's right.
Ooh. What's that one?
Oh.
Wow.
So anyway,
y'all come back, you hear?
Y'all come back now, you hear? Come and listen to my story about a man named Geoff.
Harold probably saying, what you're talking about, he doesn't know that word.
That's right. That's true. Anyway, folks, have a great... We're not going to see you till after the New Year, so have a wonderful Merry Christmas or whatever you celebrate.
Merry Christmas.
Enjoy yourself, seasons, holidays, happy holidays.
Snow or sand.
No. And have a wonderful, happy, healthy, and prosperous 2019. We will see you next year on Tech Down Over. Have a good one, everyone. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Ooh. Yes, it's a pity. I'd love